Hey everybody, Leaks Fusion Aquariums here today. I'm going to be talking about some fish food today. So what I mean is I'm going to be talking about like what I usually feed my fish and how I feed my fish and how often I feed my fish. So today I'm really just going to be talking about the regular pellets and flakes and stuff like that. So what I usually do is I buy a lot of fish food. I have a lot of different containers, different stuff. Bug bites, mostly veggie flakes just because I like that fiber. I like having a little bit of fiber in there. But I usually merge all that fish food into one big super bag, and I put a big old date on it too, just so I know when I put all that food in there. Just so I get an idea, just in case it goes bad or something like that, or it's past the expiration date. Sometimes you want to avoid that. A lot of times you're good, but it's just a good thing to keep record of. But freeze-dried food, you can usually get a lot of fiber in, but I tend to stick away from feeding freeze-dried food depending on the fish I'm keeping. Like for my tetras and everything like that, I tend to stick away from it just because it tends to hold a lot of air in it. So air isn't going to be that good for your fish. I mean, if they get air trapped inside of them, they can't fart it out, so they are going to have a bad time. So a lot of times you're going to be looking at like swim bladder disease, stuff like that can come from that kind of food. Just from my experience, I've seen that. I mean, it's not going to happen all the time, but it can happen, and it has happened to me in the past. So I tend to stick away from it, except for my African butterfly, which I mentioned in a video. He's the only one that gets some freeze-dried food, just because he's just that top dwelling fish that loves to go airborne and get his food that way, and the freeze-dried food is just easier for him to get because it floats. So he's the one exception, so hopefully I don't develop any swim bladder diseases in him. But anyway, with the fish food, I usually tend to feed this regular blend probably once every few days, once every couple of days, stuff like pretty much like that. Because you don't want to feed them every single day, just because I like to make them scavenge a little bit. I like to make it a little more interesting. Like in the wild, there's no huge giant hand coming from the heavens dropping a whole bunch of food in. I mean, the fish aren't going to eat all the time every day. They're going to eat when they can. So every couple of days or so, I'm gonna give them a nice little light sprinkle of food. I don't overfeed or anything like that, but I like to put a little sprinkle on one side of the tank, a little sprinkle on another side of the tank, just to kind of keep them going everywhere, keep it a little interesting for them. And for like bottom dwellers, like loaches and stuff like that, if you have a large mid dwelling community and top dwellers everywhere, sometimes it's hard for the bottom feeders to get some food. But if you actually take a little pinch of your fish food and drop it in the like output of your filter, it'll jet right back down to the bottom of the aquarium. So that's really good, because it's gonna kind of be missed by some of your mid dwellers and stuff like that, especially if they're distracted by all the fish food that you already have kind of floating around in those two spots that you started with, or however you feed your fish. So that's a good trick to kind of get your bottom feeders some food. But really, that's what I do, and that's how often I feed my fish. It's really light, every couple of days or so, and I like the fiber-based veggie flakes and stuff like that. But protein-based food with crude protein, which most fish food, pretty much all fish food, has a nice level of crude protein in it. But something like the bug bites, like the color enhancer or just the tropical blend, has really nice, beneficial protein in it, and it's really going to help color up your fish a lot of the time. So it's good to kind of give them that nice breed. That blend, I mean, in there. But veggie flakes, though, the reason I like doing that and fish food with fiber is just because it helps with bowel movements, helps them get going, But it's really good for them. It helps them poop everywhere, so it's just kind of good to kind of flush out their systems and stuff like that. And I'm sure you've heard of like freeze dried, or not freeze dried, but like frozen peas and stuff like that, unshelled. So that's another really good fiber source, and it's actually good to get that in their system, like probably once a week or so. But that's a topic for another day. Basically, I just wanted to go over what I feed regular fish food today and how much I feed and why I do so. So I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys learn something about, fish feeding, scheduling, and stuff like that. But I appreciate you guys watching the video. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day.